What's up, y'all? Welcome in. Thanks for being here today. Good morning. Going live every day, 8 a.m. for you while we are here. What's up, Jess Sampson? Great to see you here. Thank you for being here today. Alex in the house. Welcome in. Thanks so much. So, another day. Now, I do have to apologize because yesterday I ended the stream very abruptly. And let me tell you the quick story. So, the computer, or the frame rate, as you might remember yesterday, started to drop really, really quickly. And then all of a sudden, everything shut down. And we all thought it was the internet. Some people were saying, Nick Nimitz was also having some trouble on his stream. Well, here's the deal. We forgot to plug in the computer. With all the things plugged into the computer says that it's being charged, but I actually didn't have the power charger in. So I didn't know that we were depleting power the entire time. And of course, when you're going live, there's a lot of things happening on the computer, and you're trying to broadcast, and there's things plugged in, you lose the power. So I apologize about that. And it was funny because it cut off right when I figured it out. And I think I even said, I know why it's not working. And then the whole computer shut off. So all that to say, it was basically my fault. All good, all good. What's up, Young Adult Author Show? YAAS. I like that. Yes! That's what I'm talking about. Xenia and Vlada, good to see you. B2, how's the films TV? Alex says, how are you doing? I'm doing okay. Trying to keep my spirits high. This is part of the point of coming live every single day. It keeps that normalcy for me and hopefully keeps some normalcy and routine for you as well. Plus, I can start the day by serving you. And I just love connecting. I love helping you and helping myself realize that, although we're stuck here at home, at least here in California, that there's still connection, there's still camaraderie, there's still communication. And that's essentially why I get up every morning and do this. Let's see. What up, Pat? Good morning, Karma Cashflow, one of the regulars here. If this is your first time watching these streams, these are a way for us to stay connected during these troubled times. And I'm just here to answer your questions. Whatever questions you might have, let me know. We are here day 6 in a row. And I told everybody we're going to be doing this every day, 8 a.m., even on the weekends, even on holidays, so long as we are in this sort of crazy world. So thanks. And make sure you put it in your calendar, 8 a.m. every day. Start your day sort of with some regularity, which is great. What's up, Sai? Good to see you. Hot Breath Pod says, I just did my first Ecamm Live Q&A today thanks to this daily stream. So far, I'm using the trial, but we'll purchase it through your affiliate link if you have one. Thank you. I appreciate that. You go ahead and purchase it. I do not have an affiliate link yet, although funny you mentioned that because I was at Social Media Marketing World. I met the guys at Ecamm and they said, Pat, we'll hook you up with an affiliate link. So I will try and get that. And how about this? If I don't have an affiliate link by tomorrow, you go ahead and get it. You don't worry about me. But first of all, thank you so much for asking. I'm so thankful whenever anybody does that. So I appreciate that. Let's see. May says, thank you for your hard work. Thanks to you, I'm getting a podcast started. Awesome. Get it up. Now's the right time. People need people like you to listen to. And now's a time that people are looking for and finding new podcasts. So those who are going to be showing up during this time are going to have the best opportunity. I could get used to this live stream. Good, because it's going to stick around, that's for sure. And who knows what will happen after. Maybe this becomes a daily thing even after the fact. Merrick says, how to start a podcast and break own ES. I don't know what ES means, but how to start a podcast, get a microphone, and get going. Now, I do have the #1 most popular YouTube series on how to start a podcast, so you could look up how to start a podcast. That'll give you some really, really good information in terms of how to get started. However, I also have some courses, and I teach a lot of students. I've taught over 2,500 students in my premium course. Many have gone on to go full-time with their show and start new businesses, which is really neat. So I think it's a great opportunity, Merrick. Thank you for the question. Manasco Production says, thank you. This gets me up and ready by 9 a.m. Mountain Time. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's why I'm doing this. And so knowing that you are waking up and you're looking forward to this, well, now I'm going to do it every day. Just kidding. I was going to do it every day anyway, but it's all good. Sai says, why do blog rankings keep fluctuating? This is a great question, and it's really frustrating, right? So blog rankings change because people are coming out with newer, more relevant, better content, content that gets read for longer, content that sends more signals to Google. Other websites that are ranking for the same keywords are getting linked to, so backlinks. And these things change, they progress, and they evolve, and they adapt over time. And so Google's always trying to see what's the best to rank, and they're changing things on the daily. They're testing things. If a new article comes out, they might pop it up in the search really high, really quick because it's relevant. But then if it doesn't get a high click-through rate, or it's just not keeping people informed, then it's going to derank it again, and others will come up. So there's a lot of factors for sure. That's a tough question. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Thank you so much. This is my sound effect for when a super chat comes in. Promanik, thank you so much. I appreciate you for the super chat. That means a lot to me. Dear Pat, you are an inspiration. Sending you high vibration, sending you tons of positive energy, love and peace. Include you in my daily prayers. Thank you, Promanik. I appreciate you for that so much. By the way, super chats are sort of like paid comments here. I'll definitely highlight them when they come through because I want to thank you for that. But at the same time, know that those donations go off to somewhere else. So right now, San Diego Food Bank needs a little bit of help, so we are doing that. Thank you, Permanik. I appreciate that. Break your own excuses. Okay, so whether you want to start a podcast or write a book or create a YouTube channel, there's going to be demons in your head, right? There's going to be things that you're going to say to yourself to stop you, and these are very common. If you read the book, or if you've read the book called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield, this is a very common book that's read in sort of times when you're trying to create something new. I would recommend it for sure. It's not worth reading out loud to kids, though. There's a lot of swear words in it. So if you're a big Gary Vee fan, yeah, it might be up your alley. But anyway, I think it's worth reading no matter what. And really, it says that this self-doubt, this resistance, which can often take also the forms of procrastination, going back to other things that are more comfortable that maybe aren't moving the needle as much. These are very common. So number one, just know that you're not alone in feeling that way. Number two, this is just the nature of you being somebody who has a brain, because brains, we do things to protect ourselves, right? That's the whole purpose of the brain, is to survive. And so these feelings of doubt are based on survival, because we're not quite sure whether or not people are going to respond well. We are putting ourselves in an uncomfortable situation, and our brain tells us, no, don't do that. That just provides signals to go back and do something else. But the truth is, you're not going to die when starting a podcast, right? I think that fear is a great tool that we've used to survive and get here. But at the same time, fear is something that, although it's there to stop us from dying, it also stops us from living too. And in the realm of podcasting, I know for sure, because it took me 1.5 years to get my podcast up and running. So what I would recommend is take baby steps. I would definitely get started sooner than later. And then the biggest thing that helps me move forward, and anybody else who is struggling with, creation right now, I think the biggest thing is realizing that there's people who need you, who want you, who would rather hear from you versus somebody else, even though you might be talking about the same thing. So my buddy Chris Ducker says, I don't know if he's live watching the screen right now, but he says that your vibe attracts your tribe. But you can't attract your tribe if your vibe is full of fear. Now, I will say that you're still going to be fearful. You're still going to be, somebody who gets a little bit nervous. But here's the analogy. You're on a boat. I'm on a boat. And you see somebody else drowning in the water next to you. Now, in the real world, this is happening now, but in a different way. People are drowning because they need help. They don't have the right information. They need some inspiration. They need education. They need entertainment, and they're drowning. Are you going to tell them, sorry, I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to help you get out of this water because I'm scared, or because I'm worried about how people are going to feel about how I'm saving your life right now? No, so get out of your own way. You got this. Pat, are you able to write in the YouTube live chat comments yourself if you want to? Yes, I can. Let me test that out. Yes, I think I can write comments. Let's see. And then I'm wondering if I could feature that. Oh, I can. Hey, smart cookie over here. Thank you for that. I appreciate you, because now I can give you resources like I'm using Ecamm Live. And I can go, hey, for everybody who wants to know sort of what I'm using to broadcast, check out the comments. I'm using Ecamm Live. Thank you for that. Hey, that's awesome. MOU says, let me drive the boat. I'm on a boat. Hey, super chat came in. Dominic Harmon, thank you so much. I appreciate you. From Dominic, hi from Slovakia. Thanks a ton for your useful content. I have LM into sequence into paid coaching. How would you add 50 minutes free coaching into it? So typically what I would do in that sort of situation is after people sort of get into it, I would have sort of an application process with a Calendly link sort of attached to it. That way, when I get on a call with this person, it's not a lot of trying to figure it out. I already know what they might need help with, a little bit about their background. And in a Calendly link, Calendly, Calendly.com is a tool that you can use to essentially schedule calls like this, but on your own time. So the problem when a lot of people offer these sort of scheduling things as bonuses is that then that enters your time. They are controlling your time. But you can say, no, these are the times during these days. That's essentially how it works. You get to select, okay, on Monday and Tuesday between 3 and 6 p.m., that's when I'm taking calls. So I can have 15-minute incremental things, send that out, and people can choose the ones that are available. And if they're not available, it's going to go to the next week for you and that sort of thing. I would say, however, if you're going to do 15-minute increments on Calendly, do 20-minute increments. That way, if it goes over, you have some buffer period. I've done it before where I try to do 15-minute increments and then I, get 2 minutes off on one and then the other one's late and then it just kind of stacks on top like that. So we don't want to do that for sure. Pablo says, hey, Pat, your consistency with this talks is amazing. Thank you so much. I'm doing my best to show up and to serve and be an example, not just for all of you, but for my kids. They're asking me about this. And so what do I tell them? I say, there are people out there in the world who need help right now. Whenever there's sort of a pandemic or something like this, you got to find the helpers, but also you can become one of the helpers. So my way of helping in the morning is to get up early and to help and serve those who are around the world who might need some help right now. And part of my motivation also, and this is what I tell the kids too, is this happened to me in 2008. In 2008, there was stuff going on in the world, the recession, and the stocks were getting crushed, and people were not really knowing if they were going to have a job for a while. And guess what? I lost my job during that time too. So I'm here as service from somebody who's gone through this before 12 years ago, and I want to just be an example. And also because I've gone through that, I know what people are going through right now. I know we're here for different reasons, but I also want to show up for my kids because they're 10 and 7 now. They're going to remember this. They're at that age now, these kids, my kids, where they're going to remember this. They're going to talk about this when they're in high school. They're going to talk about this when they're in college. They're going to talk about this when they're older and they have kids of their own. And what are they going to say? Oh, I remember, your grandpa went live every day because he wanted to show up and serve. And so maybe they could be better parents because of it. Maybe they could show up in a way and serve others when time comes in their lives. House of Film says, what do you think of Audible making a collection free during this time? Are they doing that? Because that would be awesome if they were doing that. I did not know they were doing that. But yeah, that'd be incredible. I think that's great. I love companies stepping up. And, of course, what happens? You serve and you give away things during this time, and hopefully you can get some stuff back later after you've provided a lot of value. By the way, speaking of, thank you for setting me up with this. If you go to smartpassiveincome.com/toolkit, Team SPI is giving away a few things. Myself and my team got together this week, and we did what we could to create this page here, which is, that's not the page. I want smartpassiveincome.com/toolkit. That's what we want. So this is an online resource to help you during your help you on your business during this time. There's an emergency podcast episode with my CFO. We talk about running a business in this kind of environment, some work from home tips and stuff like that. Plus my course, Smart from Scratch, which is normally $249, we're giving away for free right now for those of you who want to start your business, build your own brand, which helps you sort of create your own website, and the 0 to 100 email challenge, as well as these 2 books, which are only available for free until the end of day today. So get them while you can on Kindle, Let Go, or Will It Fly. If you go to, for example, Will It Fly, you'll see that it's $0. Now, it might be hard to find. There's a little $0 to buy underneath where it says Kindle, because they're going to want to sign you up for Kindle Unlimited. You don't need to do that. just hit the 0.00 to buy, and you can get it for free. And today is the last day to do that. So one more time, that is smartpassiveincome.com/toolkit. Thank you for reminding me about that. I appreciate you. Let's see. Karma Cashflow says, what is your favorite podcast to listen to? One that you can't go without. I love the Model Health Show with Sean Stevenson. He's a good friend of mine. We're in a mastermind group together. And it's like 20% business, but mostly 80% health, mental health, physical health. And Sean has these amazing guests, and he comes from a place of service, and he brings a lot of facts. And I like when that is sort of the combination. Michael, hey Pat, nice to finally catch you live. Nice to finally catch you live on with me too. Sweet. Sean in the house. Sean, I got to give you a lot of thanks and praise. You and Benji over at Video Influencers. By the way, if you aren't following Think Media, follow Think Media and also Video Influencers. Sean and Benji have done a great job really early on in this sort of environment that we are living in right now, creating some really good content to help people get inspired to create content, to make opportunities out of this. Because that's really what you should be asking yourself. Well, what does this make possible now? You might have more time. You might have more connection. You might have more opportunity. And so thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. And Sean and I are good friends. We did a little rap the other day, and you could see that on his channel, or at least his Twitter and Instagram, which is really cool. Thank you for being here, Sean. Grandma Goodies Bible Stories, to you, we have a fledgling, or thanks to you, we have a fledgling email list. I just sent them a video Bible story to calm kiddos down just in time for kids who can't go to church today. There you go. It's Sunday. We still have to give him praise, that's for sure. Aromatic Wisdom Institute says we'll be adding podcast transcript as part of show notes. Increase Google rankings. Thank you. This is something I've confirmed with many SEO experts. Having more content on your page can help with SEO. For a number of reasons. Number one, people may stick around on your page longer. Number two, it is something that the Google spiders can crawl through and see that you are actually discussing relevant content related to that topic of the keyword. And number three, whatever letter number I am at, it's just something that can provide a lot more value, right? So for that reason and that reason alone, it's worth doing. And so, yes, it can. Now, that being said, you have to understand that when you put the entire transcript on a page, it can add miles long to that page. So you got to look for some tools that might be able to help you. Now, if you have a WordPress website, I have a free tool that might be able to help you. So let me go to here right now. If you go to fusebox.fm, this is another company of mine, a software company. For those of you who might know, I have a podcast player called the Smart Podcast Player. We recently rebranded that to fusebox.fm, and we added a new tool. And this tool can be downloaded for free. It's the transcript tool. And this allows you to put your transcript in a tool like this. So you can see here, it adds a box. You can actually download. You can put it in a new tab. So this becomes a really neat way to add a transcript onto your blog so that you can display your transcript in a way that's easy to work with. Plus, what's really cool about this is if you upload a logo in your settings, when a person downloads this, it downloads as a PDF with your logo in it. You won't have to create individual PDF files for your transcript. It'll create it for you, which is really neat. You can click this to view the entire transcript so it doesn't take up a mile long unless people want it to. And see, it'll collapse and close if you'd like it, if you'd like it to. So that's fusebox.fm. That's the free transcript plugin tool for WordPress for now. Awesome. Let's see. Actually, I already answered that question. I am a live fire performer and starting a podcast with another circus artist serving the live performer community who are devastated now, I would imagine. We are just starting. What's the first thing we should do? First thing you should do is try to come up with a bunch of ideas for show and topic ideas. That's always the number one thing that I recommend people do because it forces you to think about the future. It forces you to think about your show list. You don't have to come up with the titles yet, but just coming up with those ideas can be very inspirational because you can go, oh my gosh, we have 20 shows that we could already do for right now. Number two, I would consider how you might be able to, within each of those episodes, what stories can you tell? Although your industry is very visual, it's very, hey, look at and see how I do this. I think you could tell a lot of great stories and stories to support the tips and the tactics and the tools that you're going to mention. And then number three, I think this is a very admirable thing for you to do at this current moment in time, to step up for the community so that they have at least something that they could sort of look forward to and get behind. And then, of course, as we get out of this, you're going to be that much stronger because you will have built this community. You could reach out to people, and you could even utilize a lot of the community out there now to use your podcast as sort of a platform to share and disperse more information that can help people in this current time. So that's great. And of course, you need a microphone, and I would just go through the content either in Power Up Podcasting or for free on YouTube to help you through that. Because and then also your artwork. Your artwork is going to be something that, and this is what I always recommend if you're starting a podcast, and if you're considering, okay, where might you invest some sort of additional money. What's important? The artwork is actually really important. Podcasting is very visual. It's the first thing people see, the artwork, before they listen to any moment of your show. So spending a little bit more money on some artwork, or asking a friend who's maybe an artist to help you design something in exchange for something that you can offer them is a really smart thing to do. I would recommend, however, if you're going to be designing for podcast artwork, you're going to be required to create a 3,000 by 3,000 pixel piece of art. However, do know that most people are listening on their device, right? And so your artwork still needs to be read and seen at a very small level. I would shrink it down to 55 by 55 pixels. And if you have a podcast right now, this could be a really quick thing that you could do. Take your artwork, shrink it to 55 by 55. That's what it looks like on a person's phone. Or obviously, you can just look it up on your phone if you have a podcast already to see, are all the parts still there that you want people to see at that small level. Tarak says, hit the like button, please. Thank you. I appreciate that. That helps out a lot. I appreciate you for that. Let's see. Let's keep going here. Hi, Pat and Team Flynn. What's up, Tarek? Good to see you here. Thanks so much for being here today. Just downloaded the books. Thank you so much, says Dutch. You're welcome. Let's see. We just started your email course. When sending an email broadcast, how can we boost chances it will go into the primary folder rather than the promotions folder? So if you go into the course, there is something a little bit midway through called email deliverability. Watch that lesson. There's a lot of things involved with what gets into the primary box, which versus what doesn't. There's a lot of things related to the words that you choose that go in the subject line, for example. There's a lot related to the sort of where it's coming from and the email address and all that. There's a lot of factors. So go ahead and watch that lesson. There's a lot to sort of dig into. And there are also a lot of tools that you could use that are mentioned in there as well to help you discover deliverability, whether it's getting through and getting into the primary tab. The best way to combat that is, as soon as a person subscribes, on the thank you page, let them know that an email's coming through that way. Even if it doesn't get there, they'll look for it, especially if there's some incentive that they are sort of downloading or trying to get access to. And then in addition, some of the first emails that come out, or even the first one, you can have people reply, for example, because when a person replies to your email, it signals to Google, hey, this is an important email. You're actually interacting with it and engaging with it. So let's not ever put this in anywhere but the primary tab in the future. Hey, Pat, should we take SEO service from any agency or try to do that by myself? Well, I think it depends. There are some basic foundational SEO things that we should all know that a lot of people are teaching even for free, like backlinko.com and Rand Fishkin and a number of others who are teaching SEO. And you can learn on your own. However, if you want to go deep into it, which that's going to be up to you. Do you want to spend the time to do that? Because I don't want you to just download a course, purchase a course, and then watch it and not implement it. SEO is an interesting game that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of strategy, and it's something that you could potentially pay an agency for, of course. That's why they exist, and that's why they often charge top dollar, because it can be something that can give you a good ROI. However, it takes time. Even if somebody were to implement all the things that they need to implement in one day, you're going to see it's going to take maybe a month, 2 months, even 3 months to see the fruits of that labor. So it's going to be really up to you and your situation, depending on whether or not you have a budget, for example, and whether or not you want to spend the time. The tennis advocate says, but not a question, but you do an amazing job at explaining difficult topics. Nobody is making you share your limitless knowledge, yet you choose to do so from everyone you have helped. Thank you. Thank you, tennis advocate. I appreciate that. I think one of my superpowers is taking very complicated topics and making them easy. And part of that is because I have a hard time understanding things too. So I try to break things down for myself And I'm not the smartest person. I just am somebody who's very dedicated to understanding how things work. And then I love to share it with others, because when I've shared it with others, it can be very helpful, obviously. And to me, your earnings are a byproduct of how well you serve your audience. Let me say that again. Your earnings are a byproduct of how well you serve your audience. So when you show up and serve, and then you create opportunities for people to pay you back in different kinds of ways, whether that's sharing, whether that's an affiliate link, whether that's courses or products, then it can always come back to you and everybody wins, right? I love marketing where everybody wins. And that's what I try to do here. All right. So today I'm not going in order of questions. I'm kind of just scrolling around, seeing what catches my attention. So I apologize. I'm not going to be able to get to everybody, but you're welcome to ask a question again if I seem to have missed it. But I also don't want you to spam. So once or twice is fine. But I just noticed a question here from Danielle, who I just want to say what's up and thank you to. I've seen her quite a bit on Twitter, and I'm excited to see you here on the live stream. Thanks for coming in. What online source do you use to keep informed about the pandemic for local, national, and global news? And when, how often do you check it? So I check about 2 times a day, and I check at the San Diego sort of government health websites where I can get facts. I can understand what's happening in and around my city. I do check Twitter moments, actually, because those are, I've found, at least the way it's curated for me, because they curate things personally. I found that I've had really reliable information sent to me through Twitter moments. So I'm kind of using Twitter and there are people over there to sort of help me collate all the information. It could be very easy to get lost in a lot of this stuff. It could be very easy to come across articles that can cause panic. And so those are kind of my 2 places, but mostly just my local San Diego health department for reliable information, and of course the World Health Organization for just what's going on. It's really scary, and it does provide a lot of anxiety to me. But I will step back and I'll go, okay, number 1, what am I grateful for? Gratefulness is something that's really important because it doesn't matter what's happening. We always have things that we can be grateful for. Number 2, I do meditate, and what that means is I spend 7 to 10 minutes just kind of trying to sort of calm my brain down, calm my senses down on the couch down over there. And I'll do that once a day, typically right after or right before this call, depending if I wake up early enough. And number 3, I always just ask myself, well, what does this make possible now? And that gets me excited. That's why I'm getting up every day. Wow, maybe coming out of this, I have a daily show now that I am just dedicated to. I don't know, but so long as this pandemic's happening, I will be going live every day, 8 a.m. here for you. Xenia says, I heard San Diego's doing great with Corona. Is that right? It's doing okay, but I mean, we're so close to, I mean, the hard thing is here in the United States, testing, we're way behind. We didn't have access to tests, that we didn't feel it was that important to test. A lot of people are upset about that, and there's likely, way more cases than there are advertised here. So that's kind of the thing that's happening. So at least in the neighborhood that I'm in, everybody's doing okay. And I just hope you and your people and your family and your friends and your neighborhoods are doing okay too. Let's see. You Do It says, appreciate you, Pat. Dan Norton and I were talking about how you were the catalyst for connecting us at the Pyramid Club in Philly and forming the New York City Video Mastermind. Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So quick story. This was a few years back in Philadelphia for Podcast Movement. I actually brought my son with me during that time. It's a very memorable sort of experience because we announced our podcast together, which is All of Your Beeswax. And we did a little meetup one night. And this was a couple hundred people at a very cool location right in the heart of Philadelphia, bringing people together. That's what I love to do. When I go travel to places, I love to sort of rent rooms or rent restaurants or go to coffee shops and just invite the SPI audience there. Team Flynn shows up and we all get to meet each other. And this is exactly why I do this, for connections. Funny story. I remember, so I do this all the time because I want to meet the fans. I want to bring people together. And I didn't realize how important this was until I did this in 2013. In St. Louis at FinCon, the Financial Blogger Conference. I rented out a pizza joint. We had some pizza, we had some beer together, and that was a lot of fun. And at the end of the night, there was, maybe 75 people there. I saw this woman who I hadn't seen the entire night, and it felt so bad because I want to be there and, shake everybody's hand, or if it happened now, elbow bump everybody's elbow. And I go up to her and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry we didn't have a chance to meet yet. My name's Pat. Like, nice to meet you, Jennifer. Like, maybe we could chat later on. I feel terrible that we didn't have time to sort of hang a little bit here, because I went around to everybody, and it was great. And here's exactly what she said. Pat, don't take this the wrong way, but I'm not here to see you. And I was like, Anyway, she said, Pat, don't take offense to that, because I hear you every day. I'm a huge fan of yours. I love everything you do, but I never get a chance to meet people who are just like me. I never get a chance to meet people who understand, because everybody I talk to doesn't get what I do, but these people do. So thank you so much for bringing me here. So a little harsh up front, but I really loved learning that, because community events aren't about you. They are about the community. You just are the leader, the person who could step up to create these community events. And when you can be the facilitator of community events like that, if you've read my book Superfans, there's a whole chapter on bringing communities together in sort of those kinds of ways. It's great, and it can happen both online and offline. So thank you for reminding me about that. That's really cool. How do you think Lumen 5 offers value for blogs or websites? I don't know. I'm not paying attention necessarily to what Lumen 5 is doing. I apologize. Sunita says, hey, Pat, do you know Neil Patel? Yes, I know Neil very well. He and I have hung out. We've gotten coffee together. We've created content together. He's great. He's been on the podcast before too. Tarek says, Pat, I also have found to avoid words like free, business, money, etc. in the subject line is variable. That helps primary box deliverability. Absolutely. Kevin, what's up, Kevin? Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being here. Everybody check out Kevin in a light bulb moment. Follow him on YouTube. He's got some great stuff. Love how you're showing up daily each morning. You continue to inspire me. Could not be more proud to call you a mentor. I'm assuming you meant to say could not be more proud, but I get what you mean. Thank Kevin. I appreciate you, my friend. You are amazing. Stefan says, is there a subtitle closed caption resource for social content that you recommend? Hey, Pat, thanks for the books, resources, and being a beacon of positivity. You are the man. Thank you so much. Is there a subtitle closed caption resource for social content? So there's a lot of great tools out there that can help you create sort of subtitles and captions. There are the sort of human-generated ones, like the ones at rev.com. And there's also the automated ones like Temi, Otter.ai, there's Descript, DE-Script. So check out those tools. Now, I don't know. Oh, gosh, there was one for social that I saw. I don't know the name of the tool. I apologize. If anybody here in the room knows, feel free to share it. But it was a tool for you to have your sort of vertical videos caption for specifically, things like Instagram stories. So when you were talking, it would create the captions for you and actually would follow sort of karaoke style for that sort of thing. The other way to the other tool that I know that is rather expensive, however, is also Splash.io. Splash.io. So you could pop a little video in there. They'll give you back a video that has sort of those bold captions that are sort of followed karaoke style, and it's not done automatically. It's done with humans. That's splasheo.com from my friend Gideon Shalwick, and that's another tool that you could use. There's a whole range of tools out there. I'd say just pick one that works for you and make it happen. Thanks, Pat, says Joanna. Looks like you've been a Starbucks mug. You have a bit of a Starbucks mug collection. Where do you have mugs from? I have about 30 different mugs, Joanna. Thank you. And totally you're welcome to ask me questions about anything. This one is Maui from Hawaii. I have Philadelphia. I have the Philippines. I have, of course, California Adventure. I have Disneyland. Let's see. There is Seattle. There is Nashville. There is Tennessee, because you can get the city ones and the state ones too. There's a whole bunch. There's so many to do. Thank you, Marvin. Pat, I attended your office hours, and the view of you looks different from here. Are you on your home office or on both of the calls, just sitting in different location? So yeah, I'm in the same location, just in a different part of the office. So I'm in my home office right now. This is a different view. Usually I'm broadcasting from that computer facing this way, facing that way. And I have the window open. So yeah, it's a different view, just a different spot. And this is why I built this office this way, with different sort of things you could look at. Actually, I'm curious. I'm going to go on my iPad right now just to see. I haven't done this yet, but I want to see if I get into the camera here. Does it actually? Can you all see that? Whoa, this is really cool. So now I have a camera that I can use. So there's my setup. So I usually broadcast from there. Don't mind the mess. Some taxes. We're all doing taxes right now, right? So that's usually where I'm broadcasting from. And this is the view. So there's some Lego. There's my meditation area. There's a lightsaber with the string lights. There's my board of thank you notes. A lot of stuff going on. So yeah. Hey, that's kind of cool. I didn't know I could do that. Haha. Awesome. Love it. Cool. Pat, you missed my question of does page load speed now matter in our ranking? 100% it does. Karma Cash Flow. Question, how do you know what and how much to put for free on YouTube or in a podcast versus what you put in a paid course? Want your thoughts. So this is a great question. So typically, what a lot of people do is they put the sort of what and the why for free, and then they give the how-to away in courses. And that's a very common strategy. If you need some sort of structure, that's one way to do it. However, I always take the approach of just let me show you exactly how this works. And I'm going to show you how it works in a way that you might be able to do it for free, but it's going to be a lot harder than if you were to have sort of somebody literally holding your hand in every little step along the way. Because I could, like, if what I put in my course was on YouTube, for example, it would literally be like 50 videos, each video being very short. And that's the other part of this. YouTube might be, you know, a 20, 25 minute video showing people how to do something, you know, going fairly deep with how to do that, but not even close to what you might need. With a course, however, people are paying for more than just the content. They're paying for the structure. They're paying for the accountability. They're paying for potentially access to you in a community. They're paying for office hours, potentially. They're paying for the worksheets. They're paying for just the way that you've been able to cut up and structure it. Essentially what people are paying for is the convenience. And this is something that was really hard for me to get over. So a good example of this was in 2008, right? I got laid off. I started a business helping people in the architecture space pass an architectural exam. I literally put all my notes online for free. That helped me get a lot of great search engine rankings for a lot of those things. So that's a benefit of having stuff for free, obviously. It had a lot of people share it because it was free. People share things that are free. They don't share things that are paid as often. And then number three, it provided a lot of authority coming my way so that by the time I had a book come out or my study guide, you know, I was qualified. But the book was 90% the same, legit, the exact same stuff that was on the website, but people still paid for it. Why? Because they paid for the convenience of all of it just in one spot. So whether it's a course or a book or what have you, people pay for convenience. So keep that in mind. And people, even though they see those things are for free as well, they go, well, thank you for having it here. And they understand that, you know, it's just a part of trying to get people's attention. I think that another thing that you could do to break it up would be to give away essentially the entire thing in the first module online for free to get people in and to get people excited and to want to go to the next steps with you if you wanted to do that too. Mart says, genuinely appreciate the Smart from Scratch offer, Pat. This is so kind as I'm restricted from the frontline pandemic work for 3 months. I will be another one of your success stories. Thank you, Martin. That's exactly the right approach. I appreciate you. And again, you can find that at smartpassiveincome.com/toolkit. Not there. Let me go back. There it is. smartpassiveincome.com/toolkit. Smart from Scratch for free. One thing to know is, and here's the link, we've given away over $300,000 worth of that course already. And we're more than happy to do that. We're very thankful that we're in a spot on Team SPI to sort of give something away like that. That's so pertinent and so relevant to this time. And so thank you for saying thank you. I appreciate that. Robert says, been following you for 10 years now, dabbed with online, but never really able to commit time. Excuse maybe. Now my business probably won't survive this pandemic, and I wish I prioritized online. Thank you, Robert. But I also think that there are potentially moments now that you could use to lean into things. And if you have an online business and it might be struggling a little bit now, what's one thing that you could do to really serve your audience right now? What does this now make possible? That's what I would ask yourself. Felix says, how can I stop procrastination and do something productive? I always watch videos on YouTube or scroll to Facebook and Twitter, but don't get something done. I really want to achieve something in life. Thank you, Felix, and thank you to the rest of the community who's been answering this question for you. My take would be to time block. So allow for yourself time to watch and learn. And that's fine. I think we all want to do that, but we have to control how much we do that, because if we do that all the time, there is zero time that we're going to be using for creation. So in addition to time blocking when you're learning, time block when you're going to be taking action, where you are saying to yourself, I will not be learning during this time. I'm going to be taking action. So that's number one. And number two, I love something that's called just-in-time learning. This was something that I learned from Jeremy Franson from Internet Business Mastery. When I learned about this, this is what I said to myself. Like, that is an incredible strategy. So here it is. Just-in-time learning, only allowing yourself to learn. That means to listen to podcast episodes, read articles, watch YouTube videos about the thing that I'm doing next. So yes, I might have 100 things that I want to do. Number one, I need to prioritize. Number two, within that thing, there might be 50,000 steps, but what's the first thing that I need to know? That's what I'm going to learn about. That's what I'm reading books about. That's what I'm listening to podcast episodes about. This is where it can get dangerous when you subscribe to something, because not every episode might be relevant, which is why I've taken the just-in-time learning approach. So hopefully that might help you. Joe says, I don't know if you already answered. Is there any place I can go to learn which niches, categories on YouTube get higher CPMs? So the way to know what the higher CPMs are, it's very, very similar to what advertisers are paying. I mean, that's essentially why you get higher CPMs. It's because based on what advertisers are paying for those kinds of things. Now, in general, it's things that help people with their careers, help people make more money, help people, help people, become more educated. Those are typically higher CPMs. Also, niches like anything related to law, anything related to finances, those are going to be higher CPMs. I've tested this. I've done studies on this. But the quick way to know would be to use tools like vidIQ or even the Google keyword research tool. Keywords that are likely being paid for more by advertisers or that cost more in an auction are what is giving you a higher CPM. Good morning, chat and Pat. Good to see you, Fabiano. I love seeing the regulars here. That's amazing. And by the way, 8 a.m. every single morning. That's what I'm talking about. As long as we're in this situation together, I'm going to show up every single morning for you. So make sure to come in, subscribe, hit that bell notification icon if you haven't already. That's going to allow for notifications to come in when I go live. And it's just a big Q&A, big Ask Me Anything, whatever you want to ask me about business, life, the situation that's going on right now. I'm here for you. I want just some regularity, and not just my life, but hopefully this can provide some regularity for you as well. All right. Podcasting question. Why did you think there is no YouTube platform for podcasting? Could this be a cool business idea? I've had many discussions with people about this before. I think there should be a YouTube for podcasting. It's because when podcasting started in the late 90s, yes, that's exactly when it started. It was a bunch of nerds who figured out how to put audio file in an RSS feed to have it be played. I think the first podcast, quote unquote podcast, because it was an embedded audio file in an RSS feed, was a song by the Grateful Dead. And it was because somebody knew how to code that in and encode that into their RSS feed. And it was something that was very new. And for a while, podcasting happened, and it was just like super nerds who knew how to code and encode audio into RSS feeds. And then now, all of a sudden, it's big, it's mainstream. Still very early days, however. We still have less than 1 million podcasts, by the way, but it's coming up, and this is why it's a great opportunity right now. So anyway, long story short, that's why it's always been in the RSS feed, because that's just how it's been. Nobody's created like my friend Ben from Ben Sullins from Teslanomics. He and I were just jamming one day. We were like, wouldn't it be awesome if there was a YouTube for podcasting where, yes, it was not RSS feed based, but you like literally upload your MP3, much like how you'd upload a video. Yes, you'd have a thumbnail for each episode, much like you'd have a thumbnail for YouTube. And YouTube has all the capability to do that. They can create an RSS feed for us. They can create a subscription model, and then guess what? There'd be a way to subscribe, to get notified, to have the algorithm better serve us, to have comments come into play, and community memberships. Like, there are so many opportunities there for sure, but nobody's doing it. And I think it's, number one, because it's so new. Number two, it's definitely a huge undertaking. And number three, I think YouTube, if they wanted to, could just literally flip a switch and like UPod, UPod. That's what it should be called. UPod. Chris, thank you so much. I love you guys. Thank you for serving and for helping me. And this is a quick, easy way to give back. Just hook me up with a thumbs up. I do get encouraged by that, truly. Aiko, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Stuck in Da Nang, says the Marvin Chronicles. I apologize about that. Hope you get home okay. You asked for ideas to pick a show name. How about Christianity Morning Show with Pat Flynn? Yeah, so thank you for bringing that up. Crisis Unity. It almost made me feel like it was a little bit religious based because of your name. I was just thinking of what might be a good name for this morning show. If you ever I'm going to keep answering questions. I'm not going to make this entire thing about this. But if you have a potential show name idea for this morning show, 8 a.m., let me know. Oh man, my coffee is totally cold now already. I love that setup. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. Hey, Pat, quick question here from Aaron. I do a business podcast right now with all the stuff going on. Is it best to stay away from that as content to continue to offer a place to stay away from it at all? Number one, people still want to hear regular content. People are still buying. People are still wanting to get their regular stuff. And plus, you could potentially help equip people who are in that space to come out of this even stronger. Number two, you could use the platform to talk about things that are happening right now that are sort of things that can be implemented. And it could be a great way for you to sort of teach and serve during this time. So I wouldn't say stay away from it. However, I think at the same time, people have heard a lot about what's going on right now, and they're looking for things to keep their mind off of it, which is kind of why I'm showing up every morning here too. Let's see. I'm going down, and let's see. Thanks for sharing that. A lot of good community interaction here, which is fantastic. Aiko says, how do you manage multiple podcast shows? You started doing multiple shows after you built your team, or were you managing them yourself first? Number one, start with one show first. If you're thinking of starting a podcast and you're already excited about it, you get addicted to it, that's great. You want to do more. That's a very common thing to do. But just start with one and get it to a point where you've systematized it, meaning you've done everything you can to make it as efficient as possible for you to create your head on your content calendar, and you can get some time back. That's when I would insert a second show should you choose to want to do that. You might discover that, well, you don't want to do that because the first one's doing so well and you want to lean into that more. So that's another reason why you don't want to start multiple at one, because you might find that, well, you're going to go with one anyway. And so that's what I would recommend. Now, part of that equation could potentially be your team in terms of taking it off your hands even more. And I love now that I'm at a point where I can just record something, send it away, and all of a sudden 4 weeks later, it's up on it's up in the internet with show notes and everything to go along with it. It could be essentially when you systematize it and learn the process, that's when you could start to do multiple shows. And just keeping a conscious eye on how you're feeling. I think that's the most important thing, because it can be very easy to get buried with content creation. And the part that podcasters miss out on, which I try to teach in my courses, is you also need to give yourself time and actually step into marketing the podcast. And that doesn't just mean repurposing the show, but giving yourself time to market the show. This is why my 201 Advanced Podcasting course, Amped Up Podcasting, the AMP stands for things. A is automation. Like, let's take yourself out of the equation as much as possible, get some time back so that you can do the M part, which is to market your show, to put it out there. And there's a lot of things you can do as a podcaster if and only if you have a podcast to market your show. And then because a lot of people, essentially it unlocks new marketing opportunities for you when you do have a podcast that's been up and running for a while. And then the P part is the profit. Let's turn this into a business now. Okay, Garden Enlightenment. Does recording keynote slides with Camtasia make sense to you for teachable content? Workflow suggestions? Yeah, 100%. That's actually how I started doing YouTube videos, was screen flow of stuff that was on this of stuff that was on my computer. You don't have to show up in every video with your face. It actually can be even more engaging than just a talking head the whole time. So yeah, absolutely. So what we're talking about here is doing a screen recording of your computer, but of a keynote presentation or a PowerPoint presentation, because you can have bullet points and all that kind of stuff. So the workflow would be to actually create the slideshow ahead of time, obviously, and then sort of hit record and then run through it and make mistakes. And that's okay, because in the editing process, that's where you're going to remove those mistakes. As opposed to what I know a lot of people do, they try to go perfectly run through, and that's something that I would not recommend. You have the possibility of or you have the advantage of being able to edit parts out later. So take advantage of that. Make mistakes. Try different takes, and then you can use the best one in your final product moving forward. All right, let's keep going here. Because these next videos I'm putting out need a visual explanation, I was wondering if you knew about whiteboard or animation software that are free. So number one, if you have the opportunity to do it, if you have an iPad, for example, you can do things, for example, like what I'm doing here. This was a drawing from the other day. Can anybody guess what this is? Hopefully you can. But you don't even have to plug this into your computer. There is a way to record. If I go, whoa, that's not what I meant to do. I'm trying to get to, yeah, here. So if you hit this button here, you can record your screen. Now I can't do it right now because it's also feeding into Ecamm Live, but you can record what's on your iPad, and you can draw on your iPad, and you can go from there. And then you can plop that edited, or you can plop that, you can airdrop it to your computer, and you can go from there. Now, if that's not possible, here's what I would recommend you do. Download a software like, I don't know, Adobe Photoshop Creative Cloud, or there might be some other free, what are they called, graphic design tools that you can use, and screen record yourself drawing on a white background with a black pen or whatever colors you want to use, and just crop it to that part in that in that Photoshop file, and then you can go from there. So hopefully that makes sense. Rice cooker, Instapot. It is an Instapot. It is an Instapot. Thank you so much. Okay, let's do another. Let's do another game. Let me know if you can guess what this is. Hold on. Okay. Whoa, don't want to do that. I'm on a hidden layer. That's fine. Okay, this will be quick. Boom. There we go. What are we talking? What is that there? You let me know. What kind of soundboard though? There's a very specific kind here. There's a logo, and there's some other stuff, and this is where you get to see all the things. Anyway, yes, fun fact, Instapot does cook rice, 1-to-1 rice to water ratio, 3 minutes, 3 minutes of high pressure, 10 minutes natural release, and then you can force release it, perfect rice every single time. Yes, it's the Rodecaster Pro. Exactly, my new toy. And now we're talking about random things today, which is good. We need to get our mind off of stuff sometimes, right? Let me go back to some questions because we're having a little too much fun now. Journey Through the Great says, Pat, do you perhaps have any vids on going live YouTube with Zoom call-in guests? I've tried OBS, my untech-minded melted, such a hard setup. Help, please, and thank you. So you could use Ecamm Live to go live, and what you could do is you can feed in a Skype call. You could feed in a Skype call. I don't know if you could, with Zoom call, here's what you do. You go live on Zoom, and then you click broadcast to YouTube. You can broadcast to YouTube from Zoom, I believe. So check that out. Hey, Pat, was watching on TV, so couldn't comment before now. Fabulous as usual. Thank you, Ellen. I appreciate you. Thank you for the question earlier that helped me discover that I could use my iPad as a viewfinder here too, which is really cool. Question says, Paul Hendricks, you have had a tool for embedding a podcast on a site page for a long time. Does it help ranking like embedding a video does? And is Google treating embedded podcasts different these days? Yes, because they are reading that there is an embedded podcast and a feed there, and they are producing a show for you on Google Podcasts. So that's how Google Podcasts works. It's different from Apple Podcast. You do not submit an RSS feed anywhere. It sees that you have an RSS feed, and it'll display your podcast in Google Podcasts. And embedded players of all kinds will do that for you, as well as having your RSS feed mentioned on your website. But the podcast player, the smart podcast player, which is now the Fusebox player, does not do that much more to help you with SEO. The transcript tool can, however, which is also in fusebox.fm. You could set up a free account there and get access to that too. Where the podcast player that we've built does help is it helps you get more subscribers to your email list. It can help people sort of autoplay into the next episodes from there too. And there's a lot of other things that you could do with that too. Ray Edwards in the house, my good friend Ray Edwards. Hope you're doing well, staying healthy, my friend. Big shout out to Ray, copywriting, godfather of copywriting. That's what I call him. So check him out. Also check out his YouTube videos. And I don't like, for those of you who may be a little bit on the older side, get some inspiration from Ray, because hey, he's a little bit older than I am, but he's crushing it on YouTube. He's crushing it on podcasts. Like, you should not let technology get in the way. And Ray is just an amazing human being, there to serve. Love it. Thank you. Let's see. Marco says, hi, Pat. Is it still viable for new bloggers to make a living from a blog? Personal application to Spain, where I'm from. Yes, absolutely. I would recommend checking out Leslie Samuel from becomeablogger.com. You can definitely still make a living from blogging, because the blog is just the platform by which you are sharing a message. No matter what the platform is, blog, podcast, YouTube channel, it's not about the blog. The blog does not make you money. The blog helps you build a community. The blog helps you become the authority. The blog helps you show up so that you can then build a business on top of that. So whichever platform you choose, whichever mode of communication you actually prefer, it doesn't matter. What needs to happen, however, is you need to be quick to build an email list so you can build that community, reach out to them, figure out what they might need to help serve. The video near. Hey, Pat, do you have guides on effectively linking autoresponders, etc.? I do have a course called Email Marketing Magic where we do discuss that, but I do not yet have any videos on YouTube or any guides yet on the actual technicalities of linking autoresponders and having people go through, for example, a 14-day nurture sequence. If they click on something, then they get removed on that one, then they get put on this one about the thing that they clicked, and that sort of thing. You can start to create these branches, right? And just to kind of show you a little bit about what I'm talking about, this is sort of the way that a lot of autoresponders are done. And I learned this from Ryan Dice. It's called The Machine. So it's not me, but essentially, like, if you imagine that your autoresponder, right? So let me go here. Your autoresponder are a series of emails that you write ahead of time, right? So let's say a person, they get into it and then they get that first email, right? Which is sort of like your welcome email. Then they get like another email from there, however many emails that they might get. I'm just going to draw boxes here really quick. So they go through this sequence, right? And they're getting these emails, again, that are pre-written. And then let's say in this email here, you talk about podcasting. And then there's a link. And when people click on that link, that's a link trigger in ConvertKit. I don't know what it might be called in other things. But that then takes them off of this path and then onto this new path. And this is the podcasting path. Now they're going to these emails. And then they go through this sort of, so there's let's see. So there's like this path, but then there's like this path. So they can go this way or this way. And this email might have something that goes that way. And to turn something off, to turn something else on is sort of where the key is at, because then you can really hone in on the personalization of that particular sort of situation for them and the emails that they're getting. Hey, let's see. I'm currently casting you on my TV and still am able to see the comments here. Still able to comment here. Oh, that's awesome. Love it. I love Zoom, but use Ecamm Live for all of our live streaming. Thank you, Ray. Holy smokes, Ray Edwards is on here. Yes, absolutely. Did I hear copywriting? Yes, you did. Let's keep going. Awesome. Hey, we are at the top of the hour. I'm going to go for 10 minutes of overtime. Does that sound good? We're going to go 10 minutes of overtime for you so I can answer some more questions. I love being here with you, but I heard the kids come down the stairs, so I got to get them soon. We are playing something called Animal Crossing right now, which is a lot of fun, and we have a Nintendo Switch, so we're learning how to build a city and a community. I love Animal Crossing because it's teaching the kids also how to plan and how to be patient, because it's not a game that actually you can go to sleep every night, wake up the next day in the game. the days go by. The time in the game is the same as the time in real life. So you can do some jobs during the day, and then you can't move on until you wake up the next day. It's kind of a genius way to get people to continually open up the app, actually, because when you wake up every morning, you have like presence, which is kind of cool. How did you do the wood grain icon? I don't know what you're talking about, Samson. Let me know what you're talking about. I searched YouTube but didn't see anything. Have you used Zencaster? I have not. Actually, yes, I have used Zencaster. Okay tool to use. What I would recommend instead is using Squadcast. So if you go to smartpassiveincome.com/Squadcast, this is a tool that does essentially the same thing but better as Zencaster. So these tools like Squadcast, if we're conducting a podcast episode together, right? I'm interviewing you. I give you a link. You open that web page, and this is all web-based, so you don't have to download anything like on Zoom or Skype. So that's benefit number one. Number two, when we hit record, it's recording locally on my end, and it's recording locally on your end. In the middle of the call, while it's going, it's already being backed up. It's already being uploaded. So by the time the call ends, it just takes a few moments to process, and then I can download both those local recordings and have some really high-end audio that I can use in my podcast. Full disclosure, I am an affiliate for Squadcast, but more than that, I recently signed on to become an advisor for the company. I do believe in this company and what they're doing, and they're doing some amazing things. They're even getting a lot of big players who are getting excited about using them too. I can't disclose who those people are at this moment in time, but Squadcast is a great company, young startup, but very, very fired up, and they're doing excellent. Smartpassiveincome.com/Squadcast. How to do autoresponders really depends on the platform you use. That's why it can be hard to find all the answers. My own strategy is to choose my tool and then be unafraid to experiment. Yep, that's the right way to do it. Pick a tool and then experiment and see what works, see what doesn't. See who else is a leader in using that tool and then follow their advice because they've likely made a lot of mistakes already before you. I use ConvertKit as the email service provider to run a lot of those things. John in the house. What's up, John? Good to see you, my friend. I appreciate it. The Quaranteam Flynn Show. Quaranteam. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Any new sound effects on your road? No, I just have like the sort of those just all other, like if you have other sound effects that you think I should have, let me know. I don't want to overuse it. It can get kind of annoying. So thank you. Thanks for doing this. Love content-filled streams like this with value given and no fluff. Thank you so much. We don't add fluff here. Fluffs are for bunnies. Oh man, I want to play Animal Crossing so bad, says Ben. Dude, it's so much fun. How did? Yeah, okay. Let's see. Sorry. On your iPad, and when you keyed up your color wheel, there was a pressed wood-looking texture. Could just Samson be too much coffee? Flynnquisition. That's a good one too. I was thinking Flynnspiration, Flynnside my office, Flynn. What are some other Flynn things? Win with Flynn, Flynnside, Flynnstigation, Flynnvestigation. These are bad now. These are not good. On your iPad, when you keyed up your color wheel, there was a pressed wood-looking texture. Could just be too much coffee. Okay, let me see. I don't see any wood, but I can get a wood texture. I think if I go to here and then I look for textures, wood. So now I might be able to do a wood texture. Let's see if I can even get a wood color. Oh, what? That's pretty cool. Let me get a new layer on here. So now I can do like a wood. That's pretty neat. And now I can also go here and do a spray. And we're going to do some graffiti. Whoa, that's really thick. Never mind. Hold on. We got this. No, what am I doing? I want the spray. And then with the black, you need the black outline if you're going to do any sort of graffiti, right? Bam, bam, pat. Sorry, getting a little lost there. Yeah, I should do bricks. Why am I doing graffiti on wood? Like, who does that? Though it wouldn't even stick on the wood. It would just kind of bleed down. Never mind. Sorry. My bad. My bad. Flinteresting. Just Flynn time. Just in time, just Flynn time. Brick. Yeah, I don't know why I'm doing it on wood. Let's see. Prashant says, have you considered moving FlynnCon online, keeping in mind the turnout might get hampered with the panic? It's definitely going to get hampered. It's 99% canceled. I'm going to make an announcement next week or this week about that. And the big question is, well, can FlynnCon come online? It can't. And I've just, FlynnCon is not an online event. If I were to do something online, it would be different. But FlynnCon specifically is meant to bring the community together, to meet in person, to get direct help from our sponsors in the Smart Bar, to meet each other, to meet my family, and that just can't happen virtually. That's why in the physical event that I put together, there's 1.5 hour, 2 hour breaks in between talks, because I want people to meet together, to decompress about what I just taught, to be able to discuss with other people, to actually take action on those things. And that just is not going to happen online. There may be an online event of sorts at some point that we'll put together, perhaps, to fill in that gap. But I mean, I'm super bummed about FlynnCon. Like, keynote speakers are not coming anymore. Sponsors backed out, and just who knows what the environment's going to be like at that time. And it's my responsibility to not put it on at this moment. And so I'll be offering refunds and things like that, which I'm super bummed about. But we're still trying to work out a deal with the hotel to see if they can just hold a deposit for 2021 versus what they're asking me to do is pay $79,000 on April 29th, even though I'm not going to be able to sell tickets or even put on this event anymore. So that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now. One last question, Pat. I get stuck to create blog posts. How can I create it? How can I get inspiration? Number one, just see what questions people are typing in or asking in and around those topics. You can use a tool like answerthepublic.com to see what questions literally that people are typing into Google. That way you know that those are things that people want answers about. Number two, I would see what else is popular on other platforms, YouTube or podcasting, or even other blogs. Like, what are the popular topics, and how can you bring your own voice? What can you talk about that's a little bit different, or further, or a different angle, perhaps, related to those things? Thank you for explaining the definition of FlynnCon. Yeah, you're welcome. Let's see. I really want to put a small course together next week to have something to sell to my audience who wants to learn about what I do. I was wondering if you had any ideas to start talking about it. Yeah, I would definitely talk about it. I ask questions and just make everything you talk about that particular topic right now, so you could see what you might want to do to help. I would go live with your audience and ask questions and just discuss that. And it could also be a great way to just brain dump all the stuff that's in there and to lay them out so that you could see what people get excited about, see what people don't get excited about. And then you can use that opportunity or an email list that you might have to go, hey, I'm going to be talking about this topic quite a bit. I'm actually thinking of putting something together right now. If you're interested in learning more about this particular thing and you want to hear when I talk about it, let me know. Raise your hand, comment below, or reply to this email. And that way you're also creating sort of a wait list right now as you're getting into that. How much of a financial loss have you taken because of the FlynnCon cancellation? Are you compensating your vendors in full part? Are you compensating your vendors in full? Yes, absolutely. Everybody will be getting all of their money back, is really the goal there. So I've had some people say, hey, Pat, I don't want the refund, but can you give me access to a course of yours? So I'm trying to work with my team to figure out the best way to mechanically do things like that and offer that instead. But yeah, all the vendors are going to get, I mean, yeah, that the only thing that's terrible about it is the hotel is not allowing me to get my deposit back. And they're also forcing me to pay $80,000 on April 29th. So I will take a pretty big financial loss, but thankfully the business was financially put together in a way to be able to handle situations like this. And, we have a good cash cushion, and, we're not going anywhere. We're still able to pay the team full time. We're able to still pay the team benefits, paid sick leave, vacation, health, 401k match. I'm very thankful that I'm in a position to be able to offer that to the team still. There isn't any discussion right now currently of reducing time, reducing, anything like that. So, full steam ahead on the team. So we're very thankful for that. And this is partly why I'm showing up today. How do you keep from burning out? This will be the last question because we're already 11 minutes into overtime today. And again, I want to thank you so much for being here and for being a part of Team Flynn. You're amazing. You deserve all the applause. I'm here just as a conduit of inspiration for you, and hopefully as a kick in the butt to get stuff going. this is now our time to lean into content creation, to lean into learning, and to hopefully help and step up and serve others. I know it's not going to be easy for some, and I know that that there's some possibility, some great opportunities that could potentially come out of this as well. So how do I keep from burning out? Burning out comes from working on things that you may not be excited about, right? It's easy to burn out on something when we're just like, oh, it feels like a drag, and it just takes a lot of brain power to do something that you don't want to do. So that's number one. Number two, focus on your health. What you eat is fuel. Exercise provides a lot more energy back to you later. And I think that that's really important. So that's how you can stop from burning out too. You need energy, or else you would burn out much sooner. Number three, remembering why you're doing this in the first place, although it might be difficult. Remembering that there's an audience on the other end, even if it's one person who might need your help, that's key. Number two, remembering why you got excited about this. When you're deep in the middle of something, it can be very difficult to remember why you're doing this. Number four, having other people in your life to help support you. It may be more difficult for others to find that support system, but when you find other people, whether it's a mastermind group, friends, family, other people in the network in the same space as you, other niches, when you find that help, it can be very, very easy to help you when you are so, again, deep in the middle of it and trying to decide things. Decision takes a lot of brain power. So when you have other people that you can rely on who are also relying on you too, like in a mastermind, it can work really well. And the saying I like to say is it's really hard to read the label when you're inside the bottle. So you need other people in your life to read the label. And then number five, and finally here to finish up, prioritization. Prioritizing the work that you do and where you're going to expend your energy into the things that are actually going to move the needle. That's what I would recommend. Woo! So thanks, everybody. I appreciate you. Fingers crossed that when April 29 comes, you'll be able to use government guidance for negotiation with hotel. That's what worked for some friends of mine. Yes, it's called force majeure. And right now, the hotel's saying, well, because the mandate's only through May, that doesn't count. But if they extend things to June and July, and it's just literally impossible to do the event, it would be illegal to do the event, then I would be able to get all the money back. So that's the conundrum in my brain, is like, well, that would help, but also that would mean everybody's at home and stuck, and there's still, the pandemic going on, and I don't want that. I'd rather pay $80,000 to have this over with than kind of hold things just for me. So it's not about me, it's about you. And that's why I'm here to serve. So make sure you put in your calendar tomorrow, 8 a.m., everybody. 8 a.m. tomorrow, every day, coming live here for you. Thank you so much for being here. Hit that thumbs up if you have the opportunity to do so. Watch some of my other videos. That'd be really helpful too for the algorithm. Hit thumbs up on those too. But I would recommend watching videos that make sense for what you're doing right now. If you are working from home now lately, I would recommend checking out my latest video. My latest published video, not my latest live video, although you can check out the lives too. But whatever you can do to help in that regard, that'd be great, because that video is getting a lot of love from YouTube right now, and any extra love would be great. So go ahead and watch that video. It's about 10 tips that I've learned since working from home for 12 years. I appreciate you. And remember, Let Go and Will It Fly are available today, the last day, for free. smartpassiveincome.com/toolkit. You can get access to this page here, which will give you free access to, yes, my courses and such, but Let Go and Will It Fly will not be free on Kindle after tomorrow. This will be replaced with the PDF files because Amazon Kindle Select only allows for 5 days at a time, every 90 days. So hey, team, thank you so much. I appreciate you. See you here tomorrow. Hopefully this provides a little normalcy in your life. It does for me, so I want to thank you. And as always, Team Flynn for the win. Peace.